Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cardaholics of all ages, welcome back to Big House Cards, and thank you so much for joining me on another episode of Talkin Cards. And you guys know that I can't go too much longer without talking about it. It's the biggest news in the hobby right now. It's PSA basically shutting down their services until July. So for those who may not know, PSA put out a notice. I think it was actually yesterday, and I'm recording this on Wednesday so I can upload this for Thursday. They posted that they were going to suspend every service except Super Express and walk-in until July 1st. So economy, the group submissions, regular, express, all of that being basically paused until July. Now, this is being done to give them a chance to work through the backlog. I had seen some post somewhere, and I don't exactly know the truth to this number, so bear with me. I don't mean to be wrong if I am, but somebody had mentioned that they might have upwards of like 12 million cards backlogged. And that's astounding to me. But at the same time, if that number is true, it wouldn't be surprising based on just the number of group sub videos that I see on YouTube all the time. So to combat the backlog, they decided to pause everything until July. Now, everyone's kind of freaking out. And there's two camps. On one hand, you have the people who say this is awful. Why would PSA do this? First, they raised the prices. Now they can't even make it a month without pausing everything. And now they're just going to basically hold my cards until who knows when. And I don't think that's necessarily true. I think they are going to try to work through all those submissions. They're just not accepting anything new until July 1st. At least that's how I'm interpreting it. If they have the card there, they would clearly want to catch up on their backlog, so they're going to work through the things that are there. It's not like they're taking a 3-month break from everything. That would be devastating. But you have the people who are, very upset about this news. And then you have people who are, okay, great. This gives them a chance to pause everything, to catch up on what's needed to get done, to maybe they just expanded their facilities. Now maybe they can hire some people, bring in more graders, and then maybe this backlog thing won't happen again. They just raised prices. So let me tell you my story here. So I only have one graded card in my collection, and it's this lovely Pikachu VMAX PSA 10. I submitted it on my own. I submitted it at Express Service, and I paid $75 for them to grade this card. I had a couple others that I included in that submission, but this was what I paid at the time. Okay. Beautiful, beautiful card, not going anywhere. I wanted to have a slabbed Pikachu because I love Pikachu. This is the cornerstone of my Pokemon collection, okay? So I'm gonna put that right back here for now. So that is the cornerstone of my Pokemon collection. There's two camps to people who grade. There are people, not many collectors grade. I do from time to time, and this is really, when I say time to time, I have plans to submit other cards for grading when they reopen anyway. But when they raised the prices, that kind of poo-pooed on that because I was getting married and it just didn't seem like a time to have cards either sit there for years or pay $150 for express service, because that's what it was. So there are people who liked having slabbed cards in their collection, but there's also a camp that it's just about grading cards and selling them and making the quick buck off of it. That's the group, that's the problem with PSA. The group of people who are submitting thousands upon thousands of cards that honestly don't have that much worth, even if they're graded, that's the problem with the backlog, okay? Now, I'm not talking about the probably 10,000 Luis Robert rookie cards that are sitting at PSA. I'm talking about the 2020 tops Miguel Cabrera, or the 2021 tops Joey Wendell, and not to disrespect either their careers, but that's not the card that you want to get graded. You're going to try to grade something that's more of a special card, something that's already worth a decent amount of money, and by slabbing it, it's going to raise the value of it. That's what you should be grading, not just every base card that comes across your path. There's a reason that I chose this Pikachu VMAX as something that I wanted graded, because in my mind, it was something valuable. It's a $30 card. Not a ton of Pokemon cards sell for more than that unless it's a Charizard or more vintage. So I was like, you know what? I want to slab Pikachu. This is a really special card. This is what I want graded. In my mind, is a value difference in what's being graded versus this little surfing Pikachu right here. If I can not knock it down, nice card. It's a really nice PC hit, but honestly, I wouldn't grade it because this, I could pick this up off eBay for $4. I don't need it graded. And this one, even if I were to, wouldn't grade a 10 because of that little damage right up there. So I know that not every card that gets pulled out of a pack is going to grade a 10. And that's the other issue too, is you have people, specifically the flippers, specifically the people who don't know anything about what they're buying and are only buying things and selling things for fear of missing out on the hype train. You have people who do that and they're like, oh, should I get this graded? Should I get this graded? No. As a matter of fact, unless your card's worth X amount of money, I don't think you should get it graded. Now, that's my opinion. I'm not trying to be a gatekeeper, okay? People can clearly grade what they want. They've done it. It's a free country. It's a system that's in place. I would love to see the system changed, that there be a minimum value of a card that's raw, so that actually encourages people to grade stuff that, in my opinion, is worth grading, and when in many other people's opinions is probably worth grading. Not every card is worth grading. Because the people who think every card is worth grading because a slabbed card sells more than a raw card, that's what's causing the backlog. So, in my opinion, PSA did a smart move. They really did. They paused everything. They basically told people to go elsewhere right now, in a way. Go to BGS, although they're backlogged too. Go to CGC. Go to SGC if you really want to. Go to HGC. Go to whatever, blah, 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 GC, like all the grading companies. Go elsewhere. Now, what that's going to do is that's going to cause backlogs there too. I honestly don't know how much more the whole grading of cards craze can go on right now. I think I'm very glad that I graded my Pikachu VMAX when I did, but that's beside the point. PSA made a move that is really going to drive their competitors up, which is interesting. But they had to do it to catch up the backlog. 12 million cards. If that number's true, that's insane. So yes, they have to catch up on that. Absolutely no questions asked, right? But my problem is when you come back into service, what are the prices going to be like? Was this price increase to double the price of an express service? Is that going to stay? Is that going to go back to 75? Are you going to get rid of the mass submissions and make people do it themselves? That might solve the problem a little bit. The price increase is what's not sitting right with me. You keep the prices at this double where they were at. Now, granted, I could probably do a bulk submission and, save myself money, but I want my cards back in a reasonable amount of time. But that's the thing too, is you can't have your cake and eat it too. And I have to learn that lesson with cards myself. So, to kind of boil a very rambly type of video about PSA down to a couple points here. One, PSA I think did the right move. I think what this is going to do is this is going to push a lot of people out of the hobby temporarily, which would be great, especially now that Prism Basketball is coming out. Now, people are still going to fight over it at retail. I wouldn't be surprised if it made national news. I'm not kidding. That there was a fight over basketball cards. Which I don't know why this year's basketball card rookie class isn't the greatest, but that's the hype train. The hype train and the flipper community, that's what they thrive on. So they're buying it because of the hype. And poor people like us, poor collectors like us, are forced to either try to fight them at retail, which getting into a fight over cardboard, not worth it, or you pay their prices, which nobody should do. And again, I reiterate that nobody should pay flipper prices. Stop it. But maybe this whole PSA shutting down, grading craze being paused right as Prism's coming out might be one of the best things that our community could have asked for. Maybe this pushes flippers out. Now that they are buying specific cards, they can't grade it. They have to sell it raw. Maybe prices start to come down a little bit. Maybe we're finally going to see just a slight return to normalcy. I don't know. Nobody knows what's going to happen with this. But what I do know is that, at least what I think, is that PSA made one of the best moves that they could have made. So what does this mean for us? Well, obviously, if you're anything like me, you're going to start planning your grading submission for July. I've got maybe 5 or 6 cards that I want to get graded. But that also means is that we as collectors need to start really getting picky over what we want graded. I wanted a graded Pikachu card. So when I grabbed this and I submitted it, I did it for 2 reasons. Number 1, I wanted a graded Pikachu. Number 2, in my eyes, and I did a thorough look over of this card, it was already a 10. In my opinion, I don't think anybody, unless it's a vintage card that you want protected in the slab, that's different. Unless it's that, I don't think every card needs to go to PSA. I really don't. Because if more people are grading this card, then more graded cards are on the market, which then lowers the price. You know what I mean? If the supply increases, the demand decreases, and therefore the price has to decrease to meet the demand to get rid of the supply. So keep in mind that as you plan your next grading submission for whenever that's going to be, not every card needs to be graded. Look very carefully at your cards. If it could be a 10 and you have a legitimate shot at it, then if it's worth getting graded, meaning it will have value when it's in the slab. And I'm not talking like it goes from a $5 card to a $40 card. I'm talking it goes from a $20 card to a $100 card, a $50 card to a $400 card, whatever the case may be. If it really exponentially increases the value, then yes, I think it's worth it. If it doesn't, don't bother. If it's not going to be a 9 or a 10, in my opinion, don't bother. Don't contribute to the backlogging problem. Not every card needs to be graded. If you think every card needs to be graded, you're why PSA is shut down. Okay? So, PSA, smart move. Please lower the prices back down. That's just a selfish perspective. I know it's not going to happen because once they make the money, why would they shut the money off? Get on top of things. And dare I say, come up with a system to make sure this doesn't happen again. Limit group submissions. Get rid of group submissions. Make everyone do it themselves. Maybe that might solve the problem. I don't know. Who's to say? All I know is we're living in crazy times in this collector community right now. I kind of enjoy it. I kind of don't enjoy it. But regardless, I'm strapped in for the ride. I'm here to stay. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going to get out of the hobby because everybody else is ruining it for me. It just makes me enjoy it more. It makes me do things from a different perspective. Maybe I got to buy a graded card on eBay. Who knows? Thanks so much for listening. I appreciate it. Please comment below with your thoughts. I want to know what you guys think about the whole PSA thing. Am I completely wrong on this? Do you have other thoughts? I want to know. Please leave a like, subscribe. I have 2 giveaways, one at 100 subscribers with a couple of cards for 2 winners, Pokemon and baseball. At 250 subscribers, a Shining Fates pin collection. So subscribe, stay tuned, and until next time, bye-bye.